Hey everybody, welcome to day 5. I thought I'd pop a little blueberry in my mouth quickly, and it was one of the most sour blueberries I've ever had, but they're actually quite beautiful. They're from Driscoll's, and shout out to Driscoll's for picking these little blueberries. I remember when I was little, I picked blueberries for a day, and I think I got about $12 for that. I was only 7 or 8 years old, and it was like the first time that I worked for something and I got money. Then I remember feeling like, I like this kind of gig. But anyway, welcome to day 5. Woohoo! Of the 21 days of NLP and hypnotherapy. For those who don't know me, my name is Jocelyn Afnedidansky. Say hello, comment down below, let me know where you're tuning in from. I love to connect with my audience. I'm born and bred from New Zealand, born in my Te Waikato, raised there as well. And when I was 26, I moved, 27, I moved to Australia. I came here, my daughter was about 18 months old, and I decided I wanted to work here in Sydney at RPA Hospital. You might have seen RPA Hospital, Royal Prince Alfred Hospital. It used to be on, I think at ABC, it used to be on one of the channels. And anyway, it was only a temporary move. I was only meant to be here for a year. I ended up staying. My daughter's 16 now. She's going to be 17 in a little under 8 months, and I'm very grateful for everything that I've been blessed with here in Australia. But I always remember and know where I come from and my roots. I became a registered nurse, trauma nurse for 15 years, and I've been in the healthcare industry for over 27 years. And it wasn't until I became unwell and had a heart problem, had to have surgery, had to go on medication for what seemed like the rest of my life. It wasn't too sure. It depended on the heart problem that I had, how long I would be on medication for, and it just didn't seem right. My daughter was 7 years old at the time. I felt like this is not aligned with my future goals, and so I decided to go an alternative route. I knew the prognosis for my patients. I knew the prognosis for me. I treated many patients with the same problem before, and I just didn't see me following that route was aligned to me. It didn't feel right with my body's wisdom. So I bought a book. The book is You Can Heal Your Life by Louise Hay. Read the book through, applied everything. Within 4 weeks, I was able to heal myself. And a paradigm shift occurred with me. I thought, what? How come I didn't hear any of this knowledge in nursing school, or certainly in the hospital that I worked in emergency nursing? How come I didn't know that you could change your thoughts, change your beliefs, transform your language, what you say to yourself, and you can ultimately heal your life? So for me, it was a huge paradigm shift. I felt like I was meant to follow this path, see what it was like for myself first, and then bring this information back to the thousands of patients that I had already nursed and given a pill and sent home. And I felt like as I got more deeper into my personal development, I felt like a bit of a fraud, that I was treating people with all this Western medicine, but not really looking at the whole picture, because Western medicine looks at the symptoms and treats the body, but it doesn't actually get to the root cause of the problems, which are before you get sick, before you have dis-ease. Remember that DISEASE, disease, is actually dis-ease, disconnection with yourself and your body. And so at some level, sometime in your imprint age, or before or after, there was some type of fragmentation, there was some type of trauma. And in that fragmentation, there is a separation in some ways, mind-body disconnect to cope. It could be fight, flight, it could be immobilization, it could be freeze, it could be fawn, depending on what the trauma was, depending on how old you were, and depending on how you chose to deal with that and cope with that at that time, it causes dis-ease in your body. And so me learning all this information, I felt like I needed to become a therapist. I needed to become a practitioner. I needed to help my clients and anyone who was aligned to this work and willing to put their hand up and take responsibility for themselves and their lives. I wanted to be there for them, to hold that space for those people who were ready to do the deep work, who were ready to pull their sleeves up, courageous enough, and then go in and heal themselves permanently, not temporarily. And so this is where I have been. This is what I'm about, and this is why I felt it was really important, because now I'm a trainer of NLP and hypnotherapy. I'm also a healer, I'm also a coach, and I'm also EDIS behavioral profiler. But I love people, and I've always loved people, and I love that people will do better for themselves had they have had the choices, the knowledge, the expertise, the experiential knowledge. Then they are obviously going to be able to make better decisions. And that is why, and my intention for starting the 21 days of NLP and hypnotherapy, because at the end of the day, information is everywhere, but it's about getting in front of the information. It's about getting in front of the right people with information. It's about getting in front of the right people with the right information that are ready to do the right thing for themselves and take ownership and responsibility and take action. So I'm all about doing that for yourself. So let's go into day 5. Woo! Wait, that was a bit of a spiel, wasn't it? So day 5, we are focused on presuppositions, and the presupposition for today is respect for the other person's model of the world. And I think this is something that I always grew up knowing. You must respect other people. You know, Aretha Franklin, R-E-S-P-C-T. I won't go there, but she sings about that. When I was growing up, the moral values that were imposed upon me, or that I was taught at church as well, was you respect your elders. And you just respect people. Like, that's just a good thing to do. So when we talk about, and as it relates to NLP and the presupposition of respect for the other person's model of the world, we're coming from a perspective of just being basic human, basic values, and also as a practitioner. So when we look at it from the point of view of, and you can look at it from many different points of view. So as a point of view of a parent, as a mother of a daughter, and she wants to, you know, like, she's 16 now, so she's wanting to, you know, like what 16-year-olds like to get up to. She's wanting to explore her freedom. She's wanting to get out there more. She's wanting to not call me as much and let me know and keep tabs on her so much. She's wanting to just be away from me for a couple of days and live her best life, right? And so a response with this presupposition in mind, respect for the other person's model of the world. I understand where she's at, the level that she's at, her brain development, her hormones, her values and beliefs and her standards, and her thought processes, as well as her emotions. You know, I always tell her, I know you more than you know yourself. That's not actually true, but I just... you know, as a mother, you know your children. And so even though I, in my wisdom, and when I was 16, what I got up to, I could easily say to her X, Y, Z, no, I don't want you to, you know, have a boyfriend because of this. I don't want you to go out with these people because of this. I don't want you to go to parties because of this. I could easily do that. But there is a time between 16 to 21, right, where parents have to let go of their children. They have to trust their children. And from the framework of respecting her model of the world, I'm coming to that point where I'm going to have to let go and surrender to the process, which is her life, her process and what she chooses to do for herself, right? Looking at it from perspective of in a relationship, and you would have hopefully, when you got into a relationship and you are in a relationship currently, you hopefully have sat down, had that that face-to-face kanohi ki te kanohi kōrero conversation, the one that a lot of people tend to avoid, but the one that's necessary, where you just chuck everything on the table and you like bring up everything, the good, the bad, the ugly, and you share openly. But part of that process too is the ability to speak truth, your truth, and what you want in your life, independent of this person and in this relationship, independent of anyone, what you just for yourself want, and then where you see the vision of this relationship, and then what ultimately you would like in the relationship with this person. There's different types of relationships. I'm not going to get into all the different types, but there are polyamory, there are monogamy, there is polygamy, and it depends on the type of person you are, depends on the type of relationship you're in. All those factors come into play. So I'm just going to keep it simple based on you're in a relationship. You already know your standards and values and beliefs. You already know theirs. You've come to an agreement of what you would like for yourself. And also they've come to an agreement of what they would like from themselves, and then you two together as a union, how you co-create in this world, right? And then with the presupposition in mind of respect of the other person's model of the world, when there is a misalignment, because when there is conflict in values or standards or beliefs, there's always going to be a conflict in the relationship, right? By either one or both parties, there'll be a conflict. And it's in the conflict where this is really important, because for example, if someone is not feeling heard, feeling seen, feeling understood, and their model of the world is not being respected, then that can create a dissonance in the relationship. It can create all sorts of problems. So from this framework, just this framework, I'm speaking of how this particular presupposition could add value to your relationship, and also could add value to you as a person. And sometimes in a relationship context, that might be one of 10 or 20 different things that are an issue or that need to be worked on. So you wouldn't base your whole decision based on one presupposition, but I'm just using that as an example. If you're looking at this presupposition especially, and this is more importantly where I'm coming from with all this content that I'm sharing as a practitioner, as a therapist, as a coach, as a healer, as anyone who's being paid money for their services for someone else in terms of a client and a therapist type of relationship, where there's a professional and then there's the client who comes to you to receive services to help them heal, to help them overcome trauma, to help them with their past wounds, their negative beliefs, their relationship issues, their parenting issues, their health, maybe to quit smoking, whatever it is, but they're coming to you for a service. And you as the practitioner, in whatever capacity that is, in this framework, and if you've already decided that they're a great match for you, remember the meta programs, match and mismatch, that I talked about yesterday, if they're a good match for you. So we tend to look for a good match as it relates to working with someone, because that means that they are going to be easily coachable and that able to take on the recommendations that you would give them for them to reach their outcome, ultimately for them to get their goals, their dreams, their desires. Because as a professional, you already have the foresight and the wherewithal to disconnect from the attachment of codependency in a relationship and a connection with a client, and you're foreseeing the patterns that are playing out and also the patterns that they probably need to install and implement to get the results that they want and for them to achieve their goals. So, but I'm talking about that, especially the initial phases and throughout the relationship, when you have a client come to you and they might be at the early stages of their healing journey. They might have just had a relationship breakup. They might have had someone that they're going through a grief process. Someone close to them has passed away. So they're going through a real deep breakthrough and awakening all at the same time. And it can be a real tough time. So depending on, you assess that for yourself, where they are mentally, where they are physically, where they are emotionally, and where they are even financially, sometimes where they are spiritually, you're going to assess that and utilize this presupposition of respect for the model, for the person's model of their world. You're going to respect where they're at. And so say they've signed up to your program, they've said yes, they've committed to the terms of payment, and you've started the process of work. Maybe it's a 6-week program, maybe it's a 12-week program, maybe it's a 12-month program. And slowly between your client and therapist connection or coaching connection with the client, they are not adhering to what has been signed up in the contract or what has been told to them or explained to them, the terms and conditions of your contract to work together. It's really important, and it's really easy to say, you're not doing the work that you're supposed to do, you're just mucking around, you're wasting my time, you're this, you're that. It's easy to do that because you may have so many other things and so many other clients and potential clients, but you've closed your ability to hold space for them because you've got this client, and this client may not be doing what they need to be doing. They might not be the ideal client that you thought they were going to be. And so particularly in relation to this presupposition, without going into any of the other ones, it's a really great tool to have ecological integrity with your work, to understand and respect where they are at, as long as they have the ability to face you, to have that one-on-one communication, to explain why they haven't been answering your calls and messages, to explain why they haven't been doing the work. Maybe they have, just not been, they've been MIA, basically. They've gone with the wind. They are missing in action. You don't know where they are. They're not answering you on Facebook, and you can see that they're active and they're posting. They say they've got no money, they couldn't pay the payments, but you can see they're going on holidays and they're buying lots of things. So there's this real, it can be real easy to take offense to that and to get annoyed and to, react. But as a professional and certainly as someone who's practitioner, having just respect for the other person's model of the world and noticing that with the skills that you acquire through NLP and hypnotherapy and all the steps that it takes to become a practitioner, you'll be able to notice and understand human behavior in a way which is so depth and breadth and width that these types of clients, you'll be able to ensure the next time one of them comes to you that you'll be able to discern that they probably are not going to be a match for you, but also that you have the ability and the flexibility to respect them and their world, and what they see as a priority may not be what you believe is the priority for them to get to their outcome. But I've had that happen heaps of times where people are just starting on their journey and they think, I'm going to just fix them. That we have a session and I just go abracadabra, boobity, boobity, boo, it's all over. Free, you're free. And then they just go on to their lives. They don't change their mindset. They don't do anything new. They don't do their meditations. They don't have a daily practice. And they believe that it's all done. Everything's done. I'm healed. Hallelujah. I can go on about my life. And as we know, there's levels and there's aspects, and it just never ends. The work never ends. There's always something that we can improve on, work on, expand on, grow with. And so it's just a great opportunity for you to have respect for them, to call them out on their BS, but to do it in a way which is respectful. I find that is something that is really important in the coaching world. I hope that that's helped you in some way with maybe your calls that you're having with the clients that you are currently working with, that at least this presupposition may assist you. And remember, this is in the context of me just sharing one presupposition. But if it doesn't feel aligned, then it doesn't. I'll have more presuppositions that I'll share in coming days. I feel like this is something that's going to be of high value to you as a practitioner, as a potential practitioner, as a healer, to have that mindset of, not everyone is bad, and not everyone is out to just get and take. Not everyone is not going to align with your values, your beliefs, and what you believe to be true. It's important to also know that from a respect of yourself, that it's good for other people to respect where you come from as well. So it's symbiotic, it's like it goes hand in hand. And I love presuppositions because they're ecological. They keep the balance of NLP as it relates to, as long as there is ecology in our work, it's good for you, it's good for me, it's good for the planet, it's good for the community. No one gets hurt, and there's no malice, there's no unethical practices and traits and characteristics that can enter into a really sacred connection and relationship as a client and a practitioner relationship. So I hope that helps. I hope that helps if you're the client. I hope it helps if you are the practitioner, the coach. And I look forward to day 6. If you're interested in doing the course, it's August the 20th. We go for 7 days. It's 2 weekends, and the 7th day will be announced at the second week. So the last training day, I will announce when we have the 7th day, and on that 7th day you will be doing your own breakthrough with another student, and you'll have about 3 to 4 hours each, and then graduation. So that in itself, the breakthrough, You'll have to do processes of NLP and hypnotherapy session for each other. Can't wait. It's going to be awesome. So if you want to know about that, just PM me for more information and I will get back to you. Otherwise, hey coordinator, have a wonderful rest of your week. I look forward to bringing you day 6 tomorrow. Take care, everyone. Take care of yourself and respect yourself and respect others. Ka kite. Bye.